This Diwali mirror now goes on ground beyond headlines to find out if farmers across India are celebrating Diwali. The farmers are in pain, they are crying out for help, but no one is heeding their cries.
नहीं आया अभी तक तो पैसा नहीं आया आने की गुंजाइश भी नहीं हो रही है
हमें टेंशन है कि ऊपर का पैसा कहाँ से लाए और कहाँ से भरे भर ही नहीं पाएंगे
खाली बोलने का है दिखावा करने का है और खाली कागज पेपर में वो किसानों को उलझ जाएंगे
Mirror now gets you the untold story of India's farmers.
कशाने खावा काय करावा आता आणून देणार कोण आहे मला आणून देणार गेला मग आता कोणाच्या जेवर खावा दिवाळी
Different governments from different states have made promises, but nothing really seems to have changed on ground.
मुंबईचे बरेच कारण होते पण त्यांनी कधी सांगितलंच नाही डोक्याला हात लावून बसायचे त्यानंतर काय घरी आले नंतर 16 सप्टेंबरच्या दिवशी 6 वाजता अशी घटना घडली
But Mirror now will not allow the government to forget their plight. Their cries will not go unheard. We will keep raising this and asking why the government is indifferent towards the suffering of our farmers. Is this still the country of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan? Mirror now report.
Well, those of us in the cities now prepared to celebrate Diwali, which is 2 days away. Most celebrations have already begun. Those celebrations have not reached our villages. They have not reached our farmers. Our reporter Aishwarya has just returned from Bid in Maharashtra, where farmers tell us that they are absolutely distraught. The stress on them this year is unlike any of the previous years. They feel like they've been cheated. They feel like the government has let them down. Where is the Diwali celebration this year and why are our farmers still suffering? That's the question we're asking this evening. Vishwas Pathak, spokesperson of the BJP, joins us in the studio. Mohammad Khan of the Congress Party, Kishore Tiwari, chairman of the Maharashtra State Government Panel of the Vasantrao Nayak Shetkari Swavalambi Mission, Chengal Reddy, farmer activist, Prakash is a farmer from Chennai, G. Chandrasekhar is a senior journalist and a commodity expert, Mohan Guruswamy is an economist, and the former and the advisor to the former finance minister Yashwant Sinha. Aishwarya Paliwal is our reporter who has just returned from rural India. I welcome all of you to this conversation. Aishwarya, I want you to first tell us, what did you find in Bid?
Gloom. If you ask me in one word, that word would be gloom, followed by despair. These farmers are desperate, and they are desperate and they are helpless. That's why they are taking their lives. There are many reports which suggest that in the past 3 years, close to 400 farmers have killed themselves. From January till this year, 150 farmers have taken their lives. Now their families, their old mother, father, wife, some of them have toddlers, they have toddlers. These people are just left helpless, gloom and despair.
So tell me something, Aishwarya, how is this year different from previous years? Why is this year so gloomy?
This year is more gloomy, Faye, because in June, the Chief Minister came out and he made a promise to each and every farmer in the state of Maharashtra that he will waive off the loans. 34,000 crore rupees, an amount which you and I, if we listen to it, we'll say that this is the amount which was supposed to be there in the farmers' account. They were all happy. They were all, in fact, happy in June. But now they are not happy because they are saying we cannot see the amount. There are so many caveats. There are so many caveats.
It's too complicated.
It's too complicated.
What did you find on ground when you went from household to household, family to family? What did the families tell you?
For tears. When I went to these places, these faces, they were desperate. They had nowhere to go. They are helpless. They do not know which door to knock on to. And most of them were crying. They say we do not have enough food to feed our children, let alone feed the people of this country. We don't have money to feed our children. We don't have money to sow the next season. They don't have money to buy seeds, Faye. How will they survive? They don't have any other...
What sort of Diwali were they preparing for?
In June, they had some expectations. In July, they had expectations. August, they had expectations. Faye. September, they had expectations. But come October, all of them told me, but their hopes were dashed. The moment they started reading into the fine prints of the farm loan waiver, that is when they understood that they might just get nothing. They were looking at buying diyas, something which everyone does on Diwali, but most of these houses, you could only see darkness because they were crying, they were desperate, they just don't know what to do, which door to knock on to.
Let me bring in Prakash. Prakash represents the farmers from Tamil Nadu who are currently still protesting in the national capital, who have received very little, attention from the national media. Prakash, on behalf of the media, I apologize to all of the farmers who are protesting in Delhi right now. But tell us, what sort of a Diwali are the farmers in Tamil Nadu looking forward to this time?
No, we are living as a debtors. That is the reason we don't have a Diwali this time.
What is the state of affairs among farmers, Prakash?
Tamil Nadu, our state. Yeah, we are all the farmers from Tamil Nadu. We are conducting agitation for long 94 days. Today is the 94 days. From the government side, they're giving many troubles with the use of the Delhi police. But our central government does not care about our demands and then our life.
Right, and tell us something, Prakash, from the point of view of just the farming community. Aishwarya tells us the farmers in Maharashtra don't have food to eat. The women are telling her they don't have money to pay school fees, they don't have money for anything this year. Is the state, is Tamil Nadu different? What are the farmers going through in Tamil Nadu?
Yeah, Tamil Nadu also has same condition, but if this condition is maintained, our people also says that statement within a year or next year like that. And then I want to say is that they are all living as debtors, they don't go outside. And I want to share our agitation within the last 94 days agitation. The police giving so many trouble. Now the NGT give an order against our agitation that don't agitate on Jantar Mandar. And then we want to say about the hospitals treatment. In the Parliament Street area, there was a Ram Manohar Loge hospital. On that Ram Manohar Loge hospital, the farmers of Tamil Nadu go to the admit. They say no admitted. And then they don't give a medicines, injection, blood test like that. They ask money. Today I am also suffered. In the morning I go to the Gurudwara to take a bath because the NDMC people doesn't give a water. On that time the dog was 4 or 5 dogs come and bite my leg. Suddenly I go to the Ramanagar Loge hospital and ask the treatment. On that time they says that this injection is not available. This injection cost is 2,500. You go to take injection from outside. Like that they say. Yeah, I am suffered.
Farmers are suffering. Right. Let me bring in Chengal Reddy as well. Chengal Reddy, farmer activist from Andhra, Telangana. Chengal Reddy, these are obviously not new stories for you. These are stories that you're familiar with.
See, I know whatever the happening in the country has been happening for the last 20-25 years. There is nothing extraordinary except you see in the last 3 years, lot of promises were made because Congress were highly disappointing. Mr. Modi, we all elected, supported Modi. And Modi, to start with, he betrayed us in the pricing and all this. See, there are 2-3 basic things which requires some sort of a total change in the outlook of the country. Firstly, who should be held responsible for this farmer and food? If you see food, as far as food security is concerned, Government of India says and manages the entire food system and all that. Then the same Government of India, they never take responsibility for farmer suicides or farmers' problems because for some reason Government of India always says agriculture is a state subject, therefore we are not bothered. But the reality is, it is because of Government of India in the last 20-30 years these things are happening. I have been writing and asking both Congress as well as the BJP and others. You see, look, you people claim lot of credit when industry and service sectors achieve 8 to 10% growth. Why is that you don't take discredit for not able to achieve 1% growth in agriculture? See, the governments don't respond because here the main reason being, see, virtually farmers are unorganized and they have no interest. And what is happening, especially in this last 1-2 years, the main problem is this. Firstly, across the country in the last 2-3 years, there was very heavy losses due to drought and floods. Secondly, what happened? Mr. Modi, due to this demonetization, he entirely destroyed this informal credit system. Thirdly, if you see, though they claim that there is no inflation, but the reality is they suppress the agriculture prices of almost every commodity to the lowest level. And even though they declare MSP, which is not, they don't do any procurement. See, this has become too complex. And as far as, you see, you are talking of Maharashtra. Maharashtra, I would ask, see, that gentleman, the Maharashtra Chief Minister announced loan waiver. But in UP, it is Mr. Modi who announced loan waiver. In Andhra, it was before elections, it was announced. My question to go is that this responsibility for the whole thing must be taken over by Government of India. You see, Mr. Modi claims he is developing as a superpower, is a national, international, India is developing nation and all that. Why is that in agriculture sector this pathetic condition?
Yes, let me bring in Vishwas Pathak right now, representing the BJP on our panel. Vishwas Pathak, why is it that this year there is no Diwali for our farmers? The lights have gone out in our villages and there's no happiness. Why have we made such a mess of our rural economy?
See, there is no question of one Diwali happening good or bad. It is a long-drawn battle, and we are not claiming that by this loan waiver, this Diwalis of all people is going to be changed. First, let me.
No, but what do you mean by long-drawn battle?
Yeah, see, irrigation is a big problem. Why farmers are committing suicide is a bigger issue.
But last year we had a very good rain.
So it's not only one rain. This is the loan. This loan waiver is the loan waiver of accumulated and arrears of the loan.
You don't believe demonetization made it worse?
See, if you want discussion on demonetization, we can discuss on that. If
but
you want on GST, we can discuss on
things.
that. No, let me put things on perspective. Why this loan waiver? See, you started with bid. You started with loan waiver. For your information, 77 lakhs people have applied for this loan waiver. And validation of those loans, see, on 22nd September, this application last date was there. Thereafter, within 1.5 months, validation by the banks is happening in very rapid way. And tomorrow it is expected that around 10 lakhs people, around 10 lakhs people are going to get loan waiver from this government. This government has announced, and it is our desire.
So hang on, when will these 10 lakh people get their loans?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
How come tomorrow? What happened up till now? Why tomorrow?
It's a long-drawn process.
Or is it because it's a long weekend and they won't be able to access their money on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, which are bank holidays?
Out of 77 lakhs loan cases.
Madam, ask him. No. Please ask him. See, the banks are there when they give loans. There is already a system of loan taken, and then insurance is there. Everything is there. Why should it take so much time for him to? Why applications? You see, the details of every bank is there. How much people have borrowed? What is the insurance? What is the difficulty?
Yeah, I will explain. Gentlemen, you have to learn from the past experiences. When loan waiver happened throughout India to the extent of 54,000, and for Maharashtra it was 7,000 crores, that time what CAG has reported? CAG has reported that 14% of the agriculturists, those who were entitled, could not get benefit of that.
So isn't that why we have an Aadhaar system? Isn't that why we have an Aadhaar system? Isn't that why Aadhaar is made compulsory for all of us? We have
See, we are making foolproof system. We are making foolproof system. This is the money of taxpayer people. It has to go to a judicious way.
Okay. So you are saying that the money will hit bank accounts tomorrow?
Yes.
Aishwarya, did you call the bank manager and is he aware of the fact that the money is coming tomorrow?
No.
What did he tell you?
He said that no notification has come, no mail has been circulated. They do not know that the accounts of these people will get 1.5 lakh rupees. Even the farmers are in the dark. They do not know how this system will work out.
You wait for 24 hours. Tomorrow, 2 farmers, as a representative from each district, are going to get their check of this loan waiver. Around 10 lakhs accounts estimated.
That is PR. That's marketing and PR. If you fly down 2 farmers and you hand over checks.
It's awareness.
The bank manager doesn't know the money is coming. So there's something horribly wrong with the announcement that you're making.
Allegations were leveled against us that it is eye-washing. It's not. in very unprecedented way and in very shortest possible
so 10
time.
lakh farmers will receive
huge amount of money.
1.5 lakh rupees in their bank accounts.
Yes, tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Without the bank manager's knowledge.
See, all account details are there. Huge validation information is already done. Now accounts will be created.
Kishore
And
Tiwari,
each account is not created with the knowledge of branch manager. You have to understand the basics of the banking.
Kishore Tiwari, is this eyewash? You know the farmers better than anybody else. What's happening this Diwali, Kishore Tiwari?
No. The Vishwas Pathak is telling this something which is realistic because I am involved in this loan disbursement and loan waiver process. The money will be credited to the bank. In fact, the application which has been received by government of Maharashtra, out of which 4 million farmers account are having the overdue loan or a debt is less than 1.5 lakh. And that amount is a clear-cut case. So I am told that the cases which is very much clear, their amount will be credited to their bank account in which this loan debt waiver was being credited. So now the question is, now the banks will give the fresh loan to this farmer. So my demand with the government was that NP, the one-time settlement benefit should be given to the farmer. Apart from that, those farmers whose debt has been credited by the state should get a fresh crop loan waiver. Moreover, I should add one thing: your bid farmer report. They are in difficulty, no doubt. But Maharashtra is the only state, and I am looking after the scheme that we have given food security to all 7 million farm families of this region, and Maharashtra is the only state which gives the food security to all. Then other than that, we have given a health security and we have covered all farm.
One second. Aishwarya, is it true? One second. Aishwarya, is it true that farmers have been told that you first pay 3.5 lakh rupees, then we will give you the 1.5 lakh rupee farm loan waiver? What does that mean?
So this means that, Faye, if someone has a loan of 5 lakh rupees, first he or she has to repay 3.5 lakh rupees. How you pay it, that the government is not interested in knowing. Only after your previous dues are clear will you get this 1.5 lakh rupees. Now farmers on field and on the ground are saying, if we had that kind of money, why would we come to you begging? Literally, that's the word that they used, that we are now begging the government to help us. If we had that kind of money, we would not have come to you.
G. Chandrasekhar.
Well, I suspect, Faye, I think there is some amount of digression from the main theme of this evening's talk or discussion. First, yes, there is palpable gloom amongst farmers across the country, which is very real. I've done some work and I can see that gloom spreading. That's number one. For our friend from Tamil Nadu, I suspect they are barking up the wrong tree by camping in Delhi. Their relief should lie with the state government in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai.
If I
they need to, one second, please. Yes. They need to lobby with the state government. Number three, if we look at the last 2 weeks or so, in different parts of the country, we have had unseasonal rains. Farmers have incurred huge losses. That's one part, and therefore their incomes are affected. Second, particularly in Maharashtra and with respect to oil seeds and pulses, the market prices are far below the minimum support price and there is hardly any procurement. Yes. Therefore, they are not able to raise any income at all to celebrate their Diwali. For we need to strengthen the procurement system. If the government of India has announced a minimum support price, it is a sovereign duty of the government of India to defend the minimum export price by strengthening the procurement system, which I suspect is not in place. And therefore, we need to in some way hold the central government and the state government responsible for not being proactive. It is not that we are harvesting a large crop all of a sudden. The acreage numbers have been with us over the last 3 months or so. We also know the monsoon has been reasonably good, although there are pockets where it is deficient, Punjab, Haryana, MP and UP. But I think Maharashtra has received reasonably good rainfall, good harvest of pulses, good harvest of oilseeds. Therefore, a system of procurement should have started to support prices. But none of this is happening on a scale that would bring relief to the farmers.
So our farmers are struggling, and this is a collective failure of government. Mr. Chandrasekhar?
Well, I should think so.
Right, I want to bring in Mohan Guruswamy, economist and advisor to the former finance minister. Mr. Guruswamy, we had Vishwas Pathak of the BJP tell us that if you want to talk about demonetization, that's a separate conversation. GST is a separate conversation. Farmers are a separate conversation. But that's not how the economy works. These things are all connected and have a domino effect on each other, don't they?
Of course they do. Of course they do. Everything is linked up. Nothing in the economy is isolated from each other. But facts are, the reality is that, today 68% of farmers have less than 1 hectare of land. The average holding of the Indian farmers, 1 hectare, 1.05 hectares. And agriculture today accounts for 13% of the GDP and engages 68% of the population, which means that the farmers are getting poorer, the rural sector is particularly getting poorer, and the number of marginal farmers has increased. The number of farmers who have productive surplus to sell are small, and all these things of price benefits, price increases, farmer credit, all goes basically to them. Subsidies go to them. The water subsidy goes to them. The power subsidy goes to them. The fertilizer subsidy goes to them. So about 60 to 70% of the farmers are ignored and out of the system. Now, in this budget, the finance minister announced a farm credit of 10 lakh crores. Out of this 10 lakh crores, only 8% of this goes to small farmers. 75% of this is taken by the agribusiness companies, big farmers, who get 3%, advantage of 3% of the subvention. And farmers are very diligent in paying back loans. Out of the 6.8 lakhs NPS, farmers account for only 1%. And 70% of the NPS belong to the corporate sector. So these are all realities. Right. Agriculture has been very ignored in India. Prices are low because there's a problem of overproduction. We had a bumper crop of 260 million tons last year, and there's no place to store the food. And procurement is restricted only to 3 states: Punjab, Haryana, Western UP, and Andhra Pradesh.
Right, I'm going to bring in Mohammed Khan, one of our panelists who hasn't spoken yet, Mohammed Khan of the Congress. But I think there is a consensus that we are in the middle of an agrarian crisis, that rural India and our farmers, especially our small farmers, are struggling this Diwali. And this is a collective failure of various governments, centre and state. Mohammed Khan, go ahead.
Yeah, Faye, I have the following to say. See, this is what happens. The BJP's understanding of agricultural economics is what happens when ignorance meets arrogance. Now, essentially, I think everybody who made their points with regard to the agricultural economy, I think it has been summarized in 3 points. There are 3 issues that plague the rural economy. First is the lack of agricultural infrastructure. The second is the problem with regard to agricultural prices and incomes. And thirdly, land acquisition. Let's go to the first, agricultural infrastructure, which relates to procurement, stockpiling, warehousing, etc. The government in its manifesto, even in the state elections as well as the central election, made very tall promises about the kind of warehouses they would provide to poor farmers and marginal farmers. Unfortunately, we have seen very little progress take place in that regard because you need to amend the Essential Commodities Act to remove the limits on stocking. What the government has conversely done is imported commodities like pulses to a point where the local pulses producers have seen the price of their produce crash. This is not only insensitive, it shows a complete lack of imagination and even empathy in policy making. Number 2, agricultural incomes and prices. We can reduce this to 2 points. First is MSP plus 50. This is a long-standing demand contained in the Swaminathan Committee report. And I know you will say that the Congress also did not make headway on this, but that doesn't make it any less legitimate now. They promised it in their election manifesto. But they went before the Supreme Court 2 years after that and said, we cannot provide MSP plus 50. Tied to the issue of agricultural incomes is also the issue of agricultural support through crop insurance.
The Congress party seems to be fully aware of all of our problems, but somehow did not solve any of them in the 10 years that you were in power.
Well, Faye, I can answer that question in the following way. The Congress's record when it came to farmers' right was first rate. It was certainly not second to these people. Now, it proceeds in stages. The first stage was to bring about income supplemental schemes. MG Narega was such a large success that I remember the agricultural minister Sharad Pawar writing to the rural development minister, please suspend the scheme in the season when crops are meant to be harvested, because laborers prefer to go work under Narega than come and work on the farms because they get more money there. And that leads to price inflation in agricultural commodities. Secondly, we enacted the land acquisition bill, a historic bill that for the first time gave farmers the right to consent and compensation up to 4 times the value of their land. Do you know what the BJP did, Faye? Yesterday, farmers in Gujarat marched across the state in protest of the amendments carried out by the state government. They've taken away the right of consent. They've reduced compensation. And this is, you know, Faye, the unique thing, this is common only to all the BJP states. Maharashtra, Gujarat, Haryana and Madhya Pradesh. There is no other state that has diluted the land acquisition law as such. And you will remember in 2015, Chengal Reddy Saab was also there, I remember, when farmers across the nation, regardless of political preference, marched across the Prime Minister's decision to amend the Land Acquisition Act, and he was forced to withdraw that. What I am trying to say here is that it is very evident this is not a pro-farmer government. This is an apathetic government under whose reign we've seen a 46% increase in farmer suicides, and that has done little other than pay lip service over the course of these last 3 years and 4 months.
I know Vishwas Pathak will want to respond. Vishwas Pathak.
See, this government is well aware that we need to do a lot of things in terms of irrigation facilities, infrastructure facilities, and various facilities in agriculture sector. And we are not claiming that we have solved all the problem. Today's loan waiver case, what we are talking about, is the arrears for last 4 or 5 years. And by giving relief to the loan waiver, again, we are not going to change farmers' life overnight. That also we are aware. Because it is an ongoing process, ongoing steps we are taking. Like, you know, we came out with this water bodies, that Jal Yukti Shivar program. Then we are giving loans at now cheaper rate. We are making them available. And this our irrigation land, irrigated land, which is 18%, has to be something like 50% for Maharashtra. Then only the viability of farmers.
So how much of the irrigation have you increased?
We are increasing irrigation through the Jal Yukti Shivar. It was a big success.
What percentage?
Percentage I can't tell just now, but it has suddenly gone up. Mr. Tiwari can tell, he's working on ground. He can tell us. Infrastructure facilities are also being built up.
What infrastructure facilities?
And for your information, when this government came in power, the agriculture growth was negative, which is now 13% plus. That shows that money for agriculture is being deployed.
How was agriculture? What was the, do you know what the average farm income was per cultivator? How was it negative?
See, agriculture,
on what basis are you saying it was negative?
On the basis of figures, government figures only. It was negative, and now which is positive in 3 years.
Were we looking at negative agricultural growth when this government came into power?
No, I'm sorry, Faye. He's, I don't know what
Mr. Tiwari can tell. I think he's working on those.
We have an expert sitting in the studio with us. His word is good enough for me.
I'm talking about Maharashtra.
Mr. Chandrasekhar?
I'm talking about Maharashtra.
2014, 15 and 15, 16, the country faced El Nino conditions, dry weather conditions. Certainly, nationally, agriculture growth rate was either negative or very, very low.
So 14, 15, 15, 16.
That's yes. Number one. But yes. look at 16, 17. I think we had reasonably good rainfall, huge resurgence in rebound in agriculture production, and the same is now repeating in 2017-18. For the second year running, we have a decent amount of kharif harvest which is taking place, and therefore the farmers have responded to the call of the government. The farmers have responded to the price signals that the government gave. Farmers responded to the high minimum support price the government announced, and they expanded the acreage and they are now harvesting more. But they need support. But that support is not forthcoming. And that support can only be in the form of procurement, because prices are far below the minimum support price.
All right. So Mr. Chandrasekhar, yes,
they will feel cheated, and we will face the consequences next year in the Kharif season.
So gentlemen, help me explain this to my audience. Is this really the problem? We've had 2 good rains last year and this year. Yeah. The government has encouraged all farmers to increase their productivity, which is what they've gone ahead and done. Now they have massive harvests that they've brought in. Last year when they harvested, there was demonetization. This year they're harvesting. The problem is that they have the grains, they don't have the price. So it's like this. When a farmer grows tomatoes and then takes the tomatoes to the market, he has to sell it at whatever price is available to him on that day.
Right.
If he doesn't sell it, they will rot.
Correct.
And then he'll have to throw them away. So he sells at whatever price he is given. And he is a slave to the price. And the problem is right now, whether it is soybean, whether it is tomatoes, whether it's anything else, they're not getting the price that they truly deserve. And so a whole season of work, a whole season of pesticides, a whole season of fertilizer, of water, of whatever else they have spent of time and energy and seeds is going to waste because they're not recovering the money they invested.
Absolutely.
This is a bad investment. And that is where we are right now. That is why our farmers are in distress. So Mr. Vishwas Pathak, you can talk about how this is an ongoing problem of many, many years, but until the government actually fixes the support price, which you seem to have no intention of doing, all of the other things you're saying is lip service.
No, we are in support of fixing fixed support price. But
you don't have to be in support of it. You have to just do it.
Yeah, we have to do it. And
that's like me saying I'm in support of doing a good show. I just have to do a good show.
They've gone before the Supreme Court.
But every time
they can't
do that good show.
Why not?
At times it fails. Because of various reasons.
So, no, if you promise it in your manifesto, that you are going to do it every time, then why promise it? Then don't promise it.
See, I fully agree. There is a problem of handling abundance. There is a problem of handling shortage. And therefore, we have to be more, we have to invest more into this storages, logistics, and all those things.
Big announcements were made by this government for food parks that you were going to build for storage and logistics and cold chaining.
It will be built up. It cannot be done in 3 years. It cannot be done in 3 years. Whatever is not done for last 70 years cannot be done in 3 years.
Why didn't you say that in your manifesto?
The people understand. People are with us. Therefore people are with us.
Do they understand? What are the farmers telling you in Peel?
Farmers are with us. Therefore, they are voting us also.
No, Faye, no. This is exactly what the problem is, that the kind of money that a farmer is putting in to get that produce is much more than what the income is. And there is a disbalance. At times, they need to take loans to even run their households. The support price, which they should be getting, they are not getting. So if I'm investing 100 rupees, but I'm getting only 50 rupees, how do I repay the remaining 50 rupee? This is the problem that the farmers are facing currently. They wanted support from the government in the minimum price at which they are selling this produce because they have enough. Because of because of plenty of rainfall, they have enough, but they are not getting the prices. The investment that they have made has gone for a toss.
Mr. Chandrasekhar?
Let no one take the voter for granted. Let no one take the farmer for granted. Those who voted a particular party or government to power also have the power to vote them out. I think that's very clear. And therefore, I think we have to speak with a certain amount of responsibility, seriousness, and empathy. This is one. Second, I know for sure from the documents of the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of India, there is a 110-page document which was released last December or early January this year, listing out 25, 30 very grand schemes. But what is the progress that we have made? There are structural issues in agriculture. We are not addressing those structural issues in agriculture, but we are looking at something which has a very long gestation period, which calls for very large investment. But we also have to first pluck low-hanging fruits. What is easily possible is something we should be doing quickly. For example, I'm fond of talking about 6 mantras for agriculture resurgence. I'm not sure if you would allow me the time to talk about them. Strengthen the input delivery system, rapidly expand irrigation, invest in rural infrastructure, infuse agriculture with technology, build capacity amongst farmers to withstand market volatility. I think, and step up public investment in agriculture.
But none of this is happening
on a large scale.
All right, and I want to bring in the other two farmer voices as well. Prakash, who is one of the farmers who's currently protesting in Delhi from Tamil Nadu. Prakash, is this, you just heard Vishwas Pathak say the farmers understand that this is a long-term process. The farmers understand. Do the farmers understand what's going on?
Before that, I want to explain what are all our demands.
Yes.
I want that the first demand was give a profitable price for agriculture product. This demand was in front of the central government, and our second demand was interlinking the all rivers The national water waiver is under control of the central government, and the waiver of the bank loan from nationalized bank. The nationalized bank is control of the Reserve Bank. The Reserve Bank is control of the Finance Minister of India. And then our fourth demand is individual insurance scheme. And this fifth demand was implement the Kaveri Management Board. And sixth final demand was give a pension for our farmers. Yeah, these are all the demands. These are all demands in front of the central government. The state government have to suggest only. They are not have to fulfill our demands. That is the reason we are agitate for more than a law. Today is a 94 day. Continuously 94 day we are agitate in Jantar Mantar. We are not playing in a Jantar Mantar. We don't misunderstand this demand or fulfilled by state government or state government.
Absolutely. Mr. Chengal Reddy, G. Chandrasekhar said something really important. He said the people, the voter should not be taken for granted. Those who voted you in could just as well vote you out.
No, see, the whole problem is because farmers, unfortunately, due to illiteracy, linguistic barriers, small holding, most of them do not know the divisions between state and central governments. And secondly, they are not able to unitedly put forth any effort that can lobby. Definitely farmers in 2014, they did by and large supported BJP because Congress failed to implement Swaminathan report, and then Dr. Mr. Modi made a lot of promises. But in 3 years' time, if you see recently the Economic Advisory Council constituted by the Prime Minister, see, he doesn't seem to understand that the unemployment, rural unrest, and the lack of productivity is all basically at the grassroots farm level. It's nothing to do with industry, exports and all that. I mean, they are living in a fool's paradise. Unfortunately, the Delhi economist, industrialist, we can't explain. What Mr. Modi must understand is that the farmer situation is virtually going to a boiling point, which probably I don't think how it is going to boil, I don't know. In fact, I have been suggesting to a lot of my friends across the country, instead of going to Delhi and doing satyagraha there, suppose every week, one day, for about 5-6 hours, we put show boulders across nearby our national highways and railways and stop the traffic. Every week for about 5-6 hours, look at what will happen to the economy. Suppose once in a month we stop sending milk and vegetables to cities. What will be the fate of this country? See, the whole problem is coming because farmers are unable to put pressure on government of India. See, bank employees go, therefore the banks are closed, there are no bank transactions. Railway drivers or conductors will go on, then it will stop. The system here in farm sector, why they are not able to pressurize government of India is, we can't go to Delhi. See, tomorrow there is going to be a big meeting. How many of us can go? The best thing we have been suggesting to farmers across the country is, let us take every month one particular day. That particular day, let us use it as a farmers' protest day to show our anger, frustration, whatever it is. Do it near the village. Let us send 1 million emails
there might be, all right, there might be a need to sensitize the people in our cities more to what's going on in the villages right now. Kishore Tiwari, yes.
I will advise, 1 second, just give me half a minute. Let me tell you, ma'am, you see, things are happening across the country. People have realized they are putting across a lot of pressure. The politicians are also getting more and more scared about the farmers because as a vote bank, they are going to rebel against them. In fact, one of the demands which we are now making to whether Congress or BJP is very simple. We want a separate union agriculture budget headed by a deputy prime minister. Otherwise, you see, any prime minister sitting there, the fellow has only time for industrialists, foreign affairs, foreign delegates, not for farmers.
But that's just a point of actually making an announcement. The question is,
why don't we have our own agriculture budget, a deputy prime minister, so that we can deal in our own agriculture issues?
No, can
and we are going to do that.
See, all right. 1 second. I have a couple of people on the phone line. I'm going to take these calls and then I'm going to come back to our panel. Stephen is on the phone line from Mumbai. Stephen, go ahead.
Say.
Yes.
My observation is, Faye is more concerned about the farmers than the government in power. The BJP went to town last year when the Prime Minister spent a day with the defense personnel for Diwali, saying that, he could have spent the Diwali at home with his family, friends, so on and so forth. I suggest if the PM is so concerned about the farmers, then he should be spending a day with the farmers this Diwali. Only then will he know the plight of the farmers. And then the eyes
But all of that is still marketing and PR, unfortunately. Samar Kumar Datta on the phone line from Kolkata. It'll turn into a photo op. Samar Kumar Datta on the phone line from Kolkata. Go ahead. Mr. Datta from Kolkata, can you hear me?
Yes, madam. I am hearing you, sir.
Go ahead.
Madam, despite your brilliant panel, I have some humble submission to you.
Yes.
In 2017, still yes, madam, I am hearing you. I am talking with you.
Yes, yes.
In 2017, still our agriculture depends on nature. If there is no rainfall, there will be no production. If there is heavy rain, there will be no production.
Yes.
So our farmers are suffering from this. In 2017, our farmers depend on nature. And again, madam, I have a humble submission. Despite our repeated government assurance that we will go to industrialization, but still today, 70% of our population are doing farming. And another thing I want to mention here. So, can you hearing me?
Yes, yes, we can hear you.
वो एक तो गवर्नमेंट एक तो चालू किया फॉरवर्ड ट्रेडिंग. वो फॉरवर्ड ट्रेडिंग हमको बहुत अच्छा लगता नहीं. जैसे टाटा बिरला बोलेगा, अंबानी बोलेगा, हम ये सब गम खरीद कर लेगा.
Okay. So the fundamental question is, how can we in this day and age still be completely dependent on rainfall? Why have we not moved past that at all? I want to bring in Kishore Tiwari. Kishore Tiwari, why are we still, and not just specific to Maharashtra, why are we still dependent on rainfall?
Can I also add something very important?
Okay, Mohammad Khan, go ahead, and then Kishore Tiwari. Mohammad Khan, very quickly, please.
Yeah, Faye, I just want to say one thing. I want to take off Mr. Chengal Reddy's point. He's absolutely right. Things are about to reach a boiling point. And I'll just recite you one very small anecdote. Prashant, I remember, was there with me on that day. At Jantar Mantar, Yogendra Yadav ji brought to Delhi all those children who had lost their parents to farmer suicides. And all of these children had only one thing to say to the Prime Minister: please meet with us, listen to our concerns. Chengal Reddy Saab is absolutely right. Things are reaching a boiling point. We've seen it in Mandsaur. We've seen it in Maharashtra. The Supreme Court has had to intervene and talk to these people, but there have been complete ignorance. And finally, I want to say just one thing. Look, you are fond of saying that the Congress did nothing. Do two things, or just take two things that the Congress did forward. One is, the Congress has proven to you that despite agriculture being a state subject, you can give a 1 lakh crore rupee no strings tied loan waiver. You claim
Mohammad Khan, what the Congress has done is proven that this should be handed out on a regular basis during elections and before elections, and in between the two elections. Don't spend any time actually considering the problems and finding the solutions. You had the Swaminathan Committee report on your table for years and you didn't consider it. How can you possibly be sitting on a moral high ground at this point and giving any sort of advice to the current government?
Fair question, Faye. Fair question. But the fact is, had we been in power now, I assure you the MS Swaminathan Committee report would have been implemented. It wasn't as
What was the difference between your first term, your second term, and now your mythical third term, that you think that you could have made a change?
Security and land acquisition.
So if you are saying, Mohammad Khan, that the farmers right now are upset with the inaction, don't you think they were upset with the inaction of 10 years of the UPA government?
But that doesn't mean that you can say that we didn't do anything. That would be very, very unfair. But our record, at least as compared to these people, was stellar. And I agree with you. I'd be the first person to agree with you to say that we didn't do everything that we were supposed to. You're right. Paucity of time, perhaps paucity of
10 years
other
is
factors,
an long time.
did not allow us to complete our entire agenda. But we did manage to achieve a remarkable amount of reformation in that amount of time, Faye, and that cannot go unacknowledged.
Mohammad, to rebut what you're saying about paucity of time, if you're currently sitting here criticizing a government that has had 3 years, you can't possibly complain about the paucity of time when you've had 10. Now, I want to bring in Kishore Tiwari. Kishore Tiwari, I'm sorry, I do not see the difference from government to government. I do not see the difference on the ground, especially after the report that Aishwarya has brought back from Beed. We've sat and we've looked at all of the stuff that she has recorded over the last 2 days. It is heartbreaking. It is distressing to know that this is what our farmers are going through, that we actually live in a country where the people who grow our food don't have food to eat. I don't understand how any government can talk themselves out of this situation. Kishore Tiwari.
No, the panelist is going too much political, but I would like to add the Aishwarya's report is a ground reality. The person who produces the food for the nation is on the starvation. That's a shame. That's a shame, and that's a responsibility. We should take it. Now, Chengal Reddy and Chandrasekhar has raised a very fundamental issue that that is causing the agrarian crisis or the collapse of the rural economy. The basic reasons are the core issues about the cost, about the crop, about the credit. That the input cost is not regulated, output cost is not reasonable, so the profit making is impossible. Market intervention is much more hostile. Then, as per the crop selection is concerned, the monocrop and the cash crop being promoted, that's creating the problem that the farmer suffering for the food. Then, the credit scenario is much more bad. Even after a loan waiver, there is no regulator in place that will guarantee the fresh crop loan to the farmers. So, the popular and political demands are always there, but the core issues are not addressed. Unless and until you address the core issues that will restore the rural economy, we won't be able to solve this agrarian crisis. So that investment, then creating the infrastructure, then the proper market intervention, these are the core issues, and irrespective of all political allegations, I would like to have a very concrete discussion that state should concentrate over it and the central and state should concentrate on the agrarian community. Otherwise, we will be counting the farmer suicide like this. That is the unfortunate development. And I am really delighted that my Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has been concentrating on these basic core issues, and we are working at the ground on the fundamental issues. Let us have some changes at the groundlity, but at present the scenario is much more bad, and farmers are going to have a black Diwali.
This is Kishore Tiwari, chairman of the Maharashtra State Government panel, saying that the farmers are on the brink of starvation. They're going to have a black Diwali, and the state and central government needs to focus on the right things, suggesting very softly that perhaps they're focusing on the wrong things. Vishwas Pathak, I'm going to play a couple of bites for you. You said that the farmers support us, the farmers understand. Listen to what the farmers are saying.
तो हमारा पैसा लेके वो हम ही को क्या माफ़ी देंगे? नहीं दे सकती, गवर्नमेंट ये दे ही नहीं सकती। तो अगली बार ये सरकार आएगी भी नहीं। आएगी भी नहीं। अगली बार ऐसा किसानों को फंसाया तो नहीं आ जाए।
Vishwas Pathak.
This has been what these oppositions have been saying, that it is eyewash and you are not going to give it. But wait for 24 hours. First lot of around 10 lakhs farmers.
No, but you've gone back to the
benefit.
first 10 minutes of this conversation. You've ignored everything else that was said by all of the other panelists about support price, about rural infrastructure, about the real problems that need to be solved, and the fact that the farmers are starving, which Mr. Kishore Tiwari, you kept saying, ask him. We've just asked him. He said that they are starving, that Aishwarya's ground report is in fact the ground reality, and the farmers, if you don't focus on the right things right now, are not going to vote for you. Mr. Pathak.
See, not only Mr. Tiwari, even CM Mr. Devendra Fadnavis, he has also mentioned that loan waiver is not the ultimate solution. It is one of the solutions, and therefore by loan waiver, everything is not going to change overnight. And we have to work tirelessly towards that, which this government is doing, which is also said by Mr. Tiwari. All I want to assure to these farmers that out of the 77 lakhs applications received by this government, validation is happening. And by 30th October, this entire disbursement of 1,50,000 will be given, and majority of the lot is going to get tomorrow only.
Vishwas Pathak, I have a question for you. And this was the thing I pointed out to Mohammad Khan of the Congress as well. throwing money at the problem seems to be the only solution that our governments can successfully think about. Are you telling me that after so many years, you have not found a solution for our agrarian problem other than to announce farm loan waivers? You have not made any difference on the ground. We have not seen the rural infrastructure. We were told month after month that we are paying high prices for petrol and diesel because the money is being used for rural infrastructure. We paid a drought cess. We paid a Krishi Kalyan cess. Where did the money go? And why is it that the number of farmers who are killing themselves are going up year after year after year, and the desperation and the gloom is getting worse? What are you doing? What are you doing other than throwing money at the problem? Do you people not understand? Is the government having trouble reading the Swaminathan committee report? Shall we send somebody to help the government read the report and understand what is written in the report? Why is it that you've not come up with a solution other than a farm loan waiver still?
See, if you look at the budgets, the maximum budget is going into agriculture only. Percentage has gone up, and that money is going into all this infrastructure development only.
What infrastructure? What is this infrastructure?
Nobody is claiming that loan waiver is going to solve this problem.
What is this infrastructure development that you're doing? The government keeps saying infrastructure development. Did you see any infrastructure development, Aishwarya?
There was one village where people still have to travel at least 1 kilometer to get drinking water. When I spoke to them about canals, they actually laughed at my face and they said, "Madam, हमें पता नहीं है कि ये कैनाल होता क्या है। हमने सुना है कि बनेगा, हमें लगता है पानी आएगा, अब तक तो हमने देखा नहीं है और इस उम्मीद के अंदर कि पानी आएगा, पीढ़ियां दर पीढ़ियां निकलती जा रही हैं और लोग अपनी जान देते जा रहे हैं."
Did you see electricity, Aishwarya?
No. In some of the villages, there was no electricity. In those villages where I could see electricity, it was for 2 hours, maximum for 3 hours.
So there was no water, there was no electricity. Was there a primary healthcare center?
No, Faye.
A school?
School only till 3rd standard. But many children do not go to that school. Why? Because they have to help their parents in the farms. Because many of these mothers do not have the money to pay for the school fees. So they just ask the children to drop out. What about
midday meal scheme in the school?
Those midday meal schemes do not work because these midday meal schemes were a hook for the children to stay. But these parents, they need hands in the farms because they cannot afford laborers.
And now they're linking it to
this sounds like a movie from the 50s. That we haven't, I mean, we've started using internet and iPhones in our cities, but our farmers are still living in the 50s because we've made zero difference to their lives. So Vishwas Pathak, and this is Maharashtra, not very far away from the capital. Do not lie to my audience anymore.
The first thing, I do not accept the reporting made by your reporter. It is all one-sided. In some bad area, look at the people. See, I am not saying...
Don't accept the report. First of all, I resent that.
You are saying there is no electricity?
No. One second. No. First of all, I resent that statement. There is absolutely no reason to doubt the credibility of this reporter. But since you want to doubt, why don't you take Mr. Tiwari's word for it?
No,
Mr. Kishore Tiwari is on a government panel.
The way picture is being painted, you are posing questions and saying no. It's not that bad also. You have to look at positive things also. Things are happening. In same way district, again I am saying, this election is not the conclusive evidence, but that is how people voted for. In bid, how people have supported recently.
So that's your evidence.
It means they are there to give us time. They have patience. They are going to give some time.
Kishore
3 years
Tiwari.
is not sufficient to change their lives entirely.
Kishore Tiwari,
prism of elections.
You understand the neighborhood that Aishwarya visited?
Roadmap.
Was she off the mark?
To resolve these issues.
No, bid, there may be a problem of drinking water because of the low rain in certain talukas, but there was a load shedding for some days, but now the load shedding has been stopped. That may be a case when she has visited, but the schools in Maharashtra, for the kids is free of cost, and midday meal is also provided. But the kids are not going, schools are not with the teachers. That's irresponsible conduct from the local administration, and I will visit with the Aishwarya and see those people who are not working at the ground will be penalized. As far as my report from the beats are concerned, the farmers are suffering the most but the scenario being presented by the Aishwarya seems to be much more disturbing, and there needs to be some verification. And as which was told, in Maharashtra, the electrification in agriculture connection is remarkable, and the watershed work was remarkable, and we have been doing in a right direction, but market intervention is poor. Our farmers have the tremendous production in pulses, and the intervention was poor. We suffered all losses. There are the core issues which has to be addressed, but the welfare schemes are well placed in the certain in the almost all part of the Maharashtra, but in the certain places, if there is some problem, it needs to be rectification. But initially, I would like to say that it needs a verification at ground. I will be speaking to the collector first, and I will come back to you within half an hour.
Mr. Tiwari, I appreciate and I thank you for your response. This is the response that we were hoping for, and I'm glad you said you will visit personally and take a look at what's going on. Mohan Guruswamy, economist. From what you've heard so far, Mohan Guruswamy, how bad is the agrarian crisis according to you?
Beg your pardon?
How desperate is the agrarian crisis that India is facing according to you?
Well, it's a severe crisis. It's an existential crisis. It affects about 500 million people in this country, and and the real problem is that it's not a question of enough production of food. There's enough production. There's more than we can handle. The problem is of incomes. Out of this 500 million people dependent on agriculture, about 400 million people are small farmers, families, and there's 92 million small farmers, 1 acre and less. They don't have any surplus to sell. They are subsistence farmers. How do you make life better for them? That is by creating jobs, and the thing is to take them off the land. So you have to create millions of jobs every month. And there's no construction work taking place, no industrialization taking place, or any meaningful terms. There's mass production, mass employment in production units is just not there. All that will missed out completely. So you are impoverishing more and more people every month, and they're adding to the pool of rural landless labor, rural marginal farmers, and this is your problem. And you really got to attend to this on a war footing. And you give 10 lakh crores, and then you give it to businessmen, industrialists, your cronies, who are, making, products of wheat or sugar or whatever. And then you say that's farm credit. That's not correct. You got to see how you're going to create jobs for them. And unless you take people off the land, you're going to have this problem again and again. The terms of trade are so adverse.
Unfortunately, I have to wrap up this conversation here. I'm going to wrap it up very quickly because I'm just going to leave you with one thought. This country was built on the slogan Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. One half of that sentence is being ignored and neglected every day. This is where our food comes from. If you're currently serving dinner at home, putting food on your children's plates, that food comes from our farmers. As every Indian in this country who's going to eat tonight and not sleep hungry, it is our moral obligation to pay attention, to read about it, to ask about it, to understand the crisis that our farmers are going through, because we are the only ones who can stand by them. It is not okay to live in a country where the people who grow our food are starving. It is not okay that our annadatas are killing themselves. It is not okay that after so many years, we have not been able to find solutions to their problems, and we're still simply throwing money at it and making announcements. Successive governments, the UPA government for 10 years did nothing but announce farm loan waivers, and now we find out that the new government is not doing any better. Our farmers are owed better, and they're owed better from the rest of us citizens who eat the food that they grow every day. Let's promise to do better by our farmers. While I wrap up the show, I leave you with these voices.
कर्ज माफी नहीं है, इसको कर्ज माफी हम नहीं बोल सकते। ये सिर्फ छलावा है, ये जो गवर्नमेंट कर रहा है। गवर्नमेंट की ऐसी कोई मंशा नहीं है कि किसानों का कर्जा माफ करे। दिवाली में हमें टेंशन है कि ऊपर का पैसा कहाँ से लाए, और कहाँ से भरे ही नहीं पाएंगे।
अरे त्योहार का तो नहीं हो रहा, खाली बैंक का पैसा भरने का कहाँ से? वो जो 1.5 लाख के ऊपर का जो भरने का बोला है, वो कहाँ से भरने का?
वो यहाँ पर दिवाली निकल रही है, ऊपर का पैसा कैसा हम भरेंगे? 1.5 लाख का ऊपर का पैसा दिवाली में कैसा भरेंगे? यही हमारा मुसीबत है।
ये मजाक ही है। इससे ज्यादा मजाक क्या होता है? ये गवर्नमेंट कर रहा है, ये मजाक ही है।
उसको देने का तो कुछ नहीं, खाली बोलने का है, दिखावा करने का है, और खाली कागज पेपर में वो किसानों को उलझ जाएंगे। अभी मेरा तो ये सवाल है कि जो बड़े लोग हैं, आमदार, खासदार और वो जो बड़े उद्योगपति, उनकी प्रॉपर्टी जब्त करके किसानों को में बांट देना चाहिए। उन्होंने हमें लूट के उनके घर भर दिए है, वो हमारी प्रॉपर्टी है ऐसा समझ के गवर्नमेंट ने उनकी प्रॉपर्टी सील करना चाहिए, और उसमें से जो पैसा आएगा वो किसानों में बांट देना चाहिए।
हमने हमारी तकलीफ जान देकर बताई है ना, वो बता के थक गया, तभी तो उसने आत्महत्या की है। तो और क्या प्रूफ चाहिए आपको? हमें दिक्कत में है ये बताने के लिए और क्या प्रूफ चाहिए? जान दी है ना, आत्महत्या की है।
देनी पड़ेंगे तभी आपको समझ में आएगा कि ये दिक्कतें है। अभी कितनी जान देनी पड़ेंगी? इतने तो जाने गई अभी
जी। और ऐसा गवर्नमेंट ना समझे कि ये लोग आम लोग समझते नहीं हैं। ये गवर्नमेंट का जो है खेल चल रहा है, वो पूरा छोटा बच्चा भी समझ रहा है।
उन्होंने इस नाम पे शेतकरी को लूटने का धंधा किया है गवर्नमेंट ने। ऑनलाइन वाले का धंधा बढ़ गया, जेरोक्स वाले का धंधा बढ़ गया, सभी का धंधा बढ़ गया, लेकिन पैसे किसके खर्च हुए? गवर्नमेंट, ना गवर्नमेंट के ना ऑनलाइन वाले के, खाली शेतकरी के पैसे खर्च हुए हैं। तो हमारा पैसा लेके वो हमी को क्या माफ़ी देंगे? नहीं दे सकती गवर्नमेंट, ये दे ही नहीं सकती। क्या अगली बार ये सरकार आएगी भी नहीं? आएगी भी नहीं।
अगली बार ऐसा किसानों को फंसाया तो नहीं आ जाए।